I love the Olympics. I come from a family of hyper-competitive people, very high-level athletes, so liking competition comes very naturally. I'm normally more of a Summer Games person, but I still do like the Winter Olympics, especially this year when I recently had the pleasure of seeing Ilya Malinin win the national championships in person. It really gave me someone to root for. I can't say that about the rest of Team USA. See, I have a simple opinion. If your job is to ride a big board down a big hill and the United States has funded your ability to travel internationally and facilitate your lifelong dreams, then you should shut the hell up with your criticism. This isn't a free speech issue. When you're wearing the American flag, representing America at the international stage, I think a baseline level of patriotism isn't too much to ask, because the opposite makes you sound like an ungrateful, selfish child. I'm Tyler Chrestman. Welcome to the Chrestman Conversation. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome in on this lovely Friday. We have three topics we're going to get into today. We're going to talk about some of these whiny Olympic athletes from America. We are going to talk about a bunch of Minnesota anti-ICE activists accidentally discovering what borders are. And then we're going to talk about the SAVE Act in Congress. But first, before we get into any of that, my favorite comment from last week. It comes from Benjamin Wagner, 136, who said, quote, "Brave for not being educated," end quote. Benjamin, obviously referring to Billie Eilish here from last week's episode. You're too true. You're right on with how the amount of bravery that Billie Eilish displayed. It takes a special kind of bravery to get up and be dumb in public. And I know because people say I do it every week. So, we should all congratulate her for her heroism, because it's amazing the confidence that ignorance can bring to your life. So that's what you need in life, people. If you really want to be more confident, you should just strive to be more ignorant, because I've never met anyone more confident than the stupid. So anyway, thank you, Benjamin, for your comment. Let's get into topic one, shut up and dribble. Now, people might remember that Megyn Kelly telling LeBron James to shut up and dribble. I'm going to do that today because I am so annoyed with some of these athletes from the Olympic team. So the little story. Some athletes from the United States Olympic team were sitting in a panel, and they were asked some political questions. And while they were on the panel, they said some things disparaging about America or their feelings about America or whatever the case may be. Here's a piece of advice before I get into any of the specifics. A piece of advice for anyone in the entertainment business. And sports are the entertainment business. So if you're in sports, if you're in music, if you're in movies, a real thing that you should strive to do is to not be political in public. You do not need to alienate people who will dislike you for personal reasons. You might be a great actor, but if people don't like you for personal reasons, then they're not going to want to see your movies. They're not going to listen to your music. They're not going to want to watch you play sports. And I feel like athletes, they think that they're important because they're good at this thing. Oh, I'm a good singer. Oh, I'm a good actor or actress. Oh, I'm good at dunking a basketball. Obviously, my opinion matters more than regular people because you're putting a microphone in my face, so I should just give my opinion about shit that I know nothing about. No, you shouldn't. You should be quiet. You should take the Michael Jordan approach. Michael Jordan doesn't talk about politics. Michael Jordan's probably still one of the most popular athletes of all time because Republicans don't hate Michael Jordan. Everyone likes Michael Jordan. Republicans, Democrats, because he's not some activist out there doing stupid things. He had a brilliant take, which I brought up multiple times on this show, which is that they asked, why don't you get involved with politics? And he said, Republicans buy sneakers too. That is a great, he's not there to talk about politics. Michael Jordan is famous because Michael Jordan's good at basketball. He's the best at basketball, and it makes him famous. He's not the best at talking about ICE. That's not his role in society. He understands that, and he's a billionaire because of it. So these athletes got up on this panel at the Winter Olympics, and just going to play you what the two guys we're going to talk about said. So here we go. Take a listen. This is Hunter Hess.
Brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. I think for me, it's more I'm representing my like friends and family back home, the people that represented it before me, all the things that I believe are good about the U.S. I just think if it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here.
As athletes, we're proud to represent our country. I love the USA, and I think I would never want to represent a different country in the Olympics.
Okay. Hey, great answer. This second guy, I forget his name. I have to look it up. Oh my God. You love the U.S. and you would never want to represent another country. Okay, we'll just end it there, guys. Let's cut the mic. Oh, he's going to keep talking?
With that being said,
Shit.
you know, a lot of times athletes are hesitant to talk about
Lilies.
political views and how we feel about things. I feel heartbroken about what's happened in the United States when, I'm pretty sure you're referencing ICE and some of the protests and things like that. I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect. And I hope that when people look at athletes compete in the Olympics, they realize that that's the America that we're trying to represent.
It brings up
Okay, so again, I'm going to go back to my original point. You should just shut up. Like, it's really not hard. This is a sick way to be grateful for a country, the country that you come from. And I think that you have a right to do this. People are like, oh my gosh, they want to make this a free speech issue. They have the right, obviously. What's more American than criticizing America? I think loving America is actually probably more American, but you're right. We do have a First Amendment. The First Amendment grants us a right to criticize America. It's great. But also, many of the countries, other countries in the world, they don't have this. All of them, actually. None of them, really. So when you sit up there and you use one of the things that makes America great, this idea of freedom of speech, this idea of freedom of expression, to then criticize America in front of the world, it makes you look so naive and ungrateful. And you might have a right to do it, but you are a classless individual. Let me put something in perspective for you. I don't know who you are watching this video right now. There's going to be a lot of people who watch this video. So I don't know who you are specifically, but I want you to think about your life. And I want you to think about what you do every day when you wake up. You probably wake up, you go to work, you work a job. I'm not saying it's a physically demanding job, but it's a job. You're putting hours in. You put hours in every week of your life. You're in an office. You're doing construction. Whoever you are, whatever you're doing, it's important. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Whatever it is, it's important, and you work hard at it. This guy, he works hard at his job, but his job is to play a game. And you know why he gets to do his job? Because America is paying for him to do this. It helps with his training. It's helping with him it's paying for all his travel expenses. It has put the clothes on his back and the gear in his hands that he's going to use. He gets to play a game for a living. Like a young guy, he's going to go be the best snowboarder in the world. Hey, that's great. I think it's really cool. Snowboarding's fun. You get to play a game for a living, and you're going to sit up there and act like first of all, I don't know how old these guys are, but like you've experienced anything in life, and that you know what you're talking about. I'm heartbroken, man. America, it's just so sad, because like ICE and stuff. And it's just like, I just doing it for my friends who supported me. Hey, dude, guy, whatever it is, bro, probably, I imagine, just based on the way you talk. Hey, bro, let me tell you something. I think we all support you because I'm pretty sure the United States is paying for you to be there. Shut up. Oh, my God, I don't like the Donald Trump administration. You're on the United States national team, okay? You represent the United States. He's the president of the United States. I don't care about your personal opinion about Donald Trump. If I made the Olympics and Joe Biden was president, you think I'd go out there and want to talk about Joe Biden? I wouldn't. I don't like Joe Biden. I think he was one of the worst presidents in the history of the United States. Would I say that on an international stage? No, I wouldn't, because I have class, at least a little bit. This is a classless individual. You are up there. You are ungrateful, petulant child. I don't know how old he is. Let's look it up. Because I don't, here I am calling him a child. What if he's my age? He could be. I don't know. He's got an old face. Hunter Hess. How old is Hunter Hess? Again, he talks like he's an infant, so I imagine he's young. He's 27. You're 27. Shut up. Bro, it's like, dude, I mean, America is just like, ugh. And it's like, ugh. And the second guy cracks me up too because he's doing it better. He's saying, I love America. I would never want to represent another country. Hey, great. Stop there, guy. You'd be perfect. And he goes, but, meanwhile, it's like there's some stuff going on there, and I think he makes a mistake here, which is funny. He says, we really should be treating all of our citizens with respect. And and the other people too, like he's talking about the illegals, the non-citizens, the people that half of the country voted to have deported. He's saying, hey, treat them with respect. Guess what? I'm all for treating them with respect too. I'm all for, as respectfully as you can, taking them back to their home country, as respectfully as they'll allow you to do it, which means that when you want to run, when you want to do all these things, when you want to evade law enforcement and do all these things, well, you're not going to get that much respect because you're being a criminal. And criminals, I don't think, need to be treated with, they get to be treated with the level of respect that they show for law enforcement, which means that whatever level you meet law enforcement at, they're going to go one higher because that's how they win. You don't meet force with force. You meet force with just slightly higher force. So if you're polite, they're going to be polite. And if you're rude, they're going to be a little ruder. And if you're physical, they're going to be more physical. So any guy who resists or fight law enforcement, you get what's coming to you. I don't care because it's really not that hard to comply with the police. Say, okay, you got me. I'm done. Or don't commit crime in the first place. Anyway, so these guys, they just come across as children. Again, 27, you're old enough to know. And it's important to remember, politics do not belong in the Olympics. Period. End of discussion. Good or bad, it's fine to be patriotic about your country. Say, I love America. Okay, fine. You are not to talk politics at the international games. You're not to do it. It's not a place for countries to have issues or to politicians to be stoking international things or talk about domestic politics. That's not the place for this. I love the Olympics because the idea of the Olympics is that the nations are going to come together. They're going to compete, and it's all going to be in good spirit and to build worldwide camaraderie. That's kind of the idea. We're going to compete, but this is a friendly way to do it. We're not going to war to compete. We're going to play games. We're going to see who's the best weightlifter. We're going to see who can run the fastest and jump the highest. That's cool. It's great. I love it. It is against the actual rules to talk about politics at the Olympics. I have this specific rule here. It is against Rule 50.2 of the Olympic Charter, which says, quote, no kind of demonstration or political, religious, or racial propaganda is permitted in any Olympic site, venue, or other arenas, end quote. So here's what I would say to Hunter Hess. Kick him off the team. And I mean this 100%. There's nothing wrong with saying you're not allowed to talk about America poorly if you are being a representative of America. This would be like appointing an ambassador. That's what these athletes are. They are ambassadors for the country. You don't do that, and then the ambassador gets to go, yeah, America sucks, man. It's bad, bro. I'm going to go ride my longboard down the mountain, and I'm going to do it on ice, but I'm anti-ice. You get it? It's one of those things. You don't get to be that guy. You don't get to do those things. So kick him off the team. You are not entitled to a spot on the national team. Give it to someone who loves this country. And you know what? I should have done this before. I apologize. Let me, hold on. Give me 1 second. I want to pull something up. What was her last name? Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just thinking about, I got to look up what her first name is. There is a wrestler from the last Olympics who I absolutely love, but I can't remember her first name right now. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. I am so sorry I can't remember her name. She's amazing. What is her name? Oh, I feel so bad. But anyway, I was going to say, be this person. This is who you need to be because she is unbelievable and unbelievably patriotic and amazing. I'm going to have to find it later. I feel so bad. I was going to give her a shout out and actually pull up a video of her if I could find it, but I can't remember her darn name. Starts with an M. Oh, I follow her on Instagram. But anyway, I became such a huge fan of this girl last Olympics because, here we go. I got her. But she has kind of a long name. That's why I couldn't remember it. Just forgive me. Here we go. Okay. So yes. Oh, this is it. This is exactly the video. I love this. This is exactly the video I was looking for. Okay. This is who I want to see in the Olympics. This is who I want to see every time.
It feels amazing. I love representing the U.S. I freaking love living there. I love it. And I'm so happy I get to represent USA.
I think Hunter has...
That is, yes. So Tamara Mensah-Stock. That is who I was thinking of. I could not remember. Her Instagram name is ridiculously long. It's Mensa Tamara Stock. So I was like, I couldn't remember her actual name. Tamara Mensah-Stock. That is who we need on the Olympics. That is who we should be sending to the Olympics. People like that who love the United States, who want to wear the flag, who want to do it proudly. I don't know her politics. She might be a Democrat. She might be a Republican. I don't know. And I don't care because that's not what's important to her. The important thing is she put the American flag on her back because she is there to represent America. And that's who the Olympians should be. They are ambassadors for the country. Yes, we want them to win. We want to put the best people in those positions to capture gold medals because that's the point of the Olympics. We want to win them. We want to win the gold medals and say we're the best. But I would rather have someone there who loves this country and wants to be there, not someone who wants to go up there and mealy-mouth say, America's got problems, man, and it's hard out there. And it's so hard. You get to ride a board down a hill for fun and a living. Shut up. I don't want to hear about what you think. It drives me nuts. 58 years ago, when Tommy Smith and John Carlos did the Black Power fist on the podium, they were expelled from the games. And obviously that was a statement done for pure politics in an Olympic event, not just a panel. But still, there's no difference. This is no right to be on the national team. Kick them off. That's what I would do. I think it's ridiculous that these guys get to compete and they're going to just sit there. And then they get to go, I can't believe there was backlash. You can't believe that? I can, you morons. Anyway, let's move on. I'm going to talk about topic two. ICE protesters discover borders. I don't have much to say about this topic, but I wanted to share with everyone because this news story is hilarious. So I think, am I in the right spot here? No, I'm not. Okay, I'm going to just scroll back to here. I can't remember exactly when I need to start, but I want you to watch this video, and then I'm going to talk about it. Tell me what you notice. Okay, so first of all, you can see they've erected a barrier in the street here, a checkpoint.
Around the city. Now, residents say it's to check vehicles entering their neighborhoods and to block any federal agents attempting to pass.
So you can see them here standing in the median. They've erected a barrier, created a checkpoint. They're looking for federal agents. Listen to this lady.
We are literally creating a place that we know who's coming and going in and out of our neighborhoods.
How did it make you feel just seeing a community?
Okay. All right. So I don't know the point of the news story that they were trying to cover, if they were trying to say it's a good or bad thing. But did you listen? Do you hear what I find funny? Did you notice it too? So these, basically, this lady is so close. She's so close to understanding it. Basically, the neighborhood, which must be full of these anti-ICE people, they have determined that there's a certain element that they don't want in their community. So in this case, it's the federal agents. They say, we don't want these federal agents in here. So they all band together and they put their thinking caps on. They say to themselves, all right, well, how would we, if we don't want someone in our neighborhood, how would we keep them out? And one of the people goes, hey, you know what we should do? We should create a physical barrier. That would stop them. And then they go, yes, that's a great idea. And then what we could do is we could have an opening, like an entry port, and we'll just check who comes in and out so we can make sure they're not federal agents. And they go, yes, amazing. These people rationalize their way into inventing the border. That's what they did. They just reasoned themselves into securing the border. And they don't, she hasn't got it. It hasn't clicked yet. The logic doesn't apply because right now the undesirables are just ICE. They're saying, oh, well, this is just about ICE. We want to keep ICE out of here. We don't want this immigration customs enforcement to come in our neighborhood. They might do bad things like take the illegal immigrants away. But they're so close to understanding the logic behind having a secure border. They're right there. It's just that last little leap, that last synapse just needs to fire and put that electrical charge over the edge to get that idea to go. Because listening to these people, there's another one with them. So there was the lady, but there's another one with a man who's also doing the same thing. You just listen to him talk. Well, we just want to know who's coming in and out of this neighborhood because this is a nice community. This is a nice, safe community, and we have a right to know who comes in and out of the neighborhoods. Guy, welcome to the Republican Party. Congratulations. That's all we want too. I'm not against people coming into the United States. I think we should have some amount of immigration is good. We can debate on where the level should be. But illegal immigration is bad, and not knowing who's coming in and out is a bad thing. I'm glad you understand this. You know, it's a shame that it's applied to federal law enforcement officers and not the criminal element who's violating the sovereignty of the United States. But, you know, you're right there. You're almost there. We give them a little time, and we'll see what they do. I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath and wait for them because, you know, I feel like I would die, certainly. But give them a little time. These guys might also just, one day one of them is going to wake up and go, you know, it would make more sense. I'd have more money to help the people I want to help if I just didn't have to pay all these taxes. And they'd go, you know, that's a great idea. You're going to watch these liberals rationalize themselves into the conservative way of thinking. And it's great. Anyway, that's like I said, don't have much to say on the topic. It's just hilarious. So anyway, enjoy that. Let's get into another big topic, though. The topic 3, what's the deal with the SAVE Act? So some of you are probably wondering, if you're not up to date on your news, what the hell is the SAVE Act? You're saying to yourself, Tyler, what are you talking about right now? The SAVE Act. I've heard that name before. What's it about? Now let me feed you, baby birds. Okay, I got a little knowledge I can impart on you. This is a great bill. A lot of people are saying that it's not, that it has issues, but we're going to go through it. I think this is a wonderful thing, and it should pass Congress. There's no reason it shouldn't. What does it do? So it is a bill that introduced by Chip Roy in the House that would, and this is a quote from the bill, quote, require individuals to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections. Okay, end quote. Pretty straightforward. Specifically, it prohibits states from processing applications unless the applicants present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. This seems non-controversial. This basically would amend the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 by making citizens provide proof of citizenship. That's it. That is all it is. It is an amendment to make it a little more difficult for states to process applications without people proving they are citizens. Now, it's ridiculous we don't have a law like this. It's silly. We have taken a step in this direction. So any of you who fly know that it is a big deal now to have a real ID. And the real ID is something that the TSA has come up with, that it's basically a federal requirement now for federal planes where you have to get a real ID, instead of just the state having you show proof of registration for a bill from your house, you have to show up with other things. So to get a real ID, you have to show up, I think, with either a birth certificate and a proof of residency and maybe your social security card. You have to show up with a bunch of things. And they give you this real ID, and the real ID has a little star in the corner. And basically they did it because the states, places like California, places like, I think, New Mexico, a couple other states, they were giving driver's license to illegal immigrants. They just decided this was a good idea. We've seen how that works out, which is poorly. And because they were giving driver's license to illegal immigrants, they said, well, actually, you can't use this to get on a plane because it's not a real form of ID that the federal government would acknowledge because you're not here legally and you shouldn't have this ID in the first place. So the federal government came through and said, we're going to make it so that you have to have a federally approved license to get on a plane. So we know who you are, which means proof of citizenship, proof of residency, proof of who you are, social security card, whatever it is. Just a bunch of stuff you need. So we already do this with the Real ID laws to get on a plane. This is such an obvious thing to me that we should do. Let's imagine, I want to grant you the premise on the Democratic side of the aisle. Let's just say voter fraud is not a problem. Now, I don't agree. Excuse me. I don't agree. But let's just imagine that it's not an issue. And you just say, well, it doesn't really exist. Okay, fine. Let's just say you're 100% right. Why are you so opposed to this? What is the benefit? The arguments against this are so weak. It is unbelievable how bad they are. And let me give you a scenario. I think mail-in voting is terrible. One of the things that the SAVE Act would do, it would be to curtail mail-in voting. I think mail-in voting is a travesty. We should not be doing this. I can paint you a scenario about mail-in voting that you cannot argue with and say that it doesn't happen. And because of that, I just say, well, how can we have it? And here's the one. When we had that universal mail-in balloting, where they basically said everyone who's registered to vote is going to get a ballot in the mail. Imagine this. Most people don't vote, by the way. I'm in a house with 4 people above the age of 18. I am, let's say a husband, wife, 2 kids. Well, they send 4 ballots in. Half of the house, we know, statistically won't vote. Those 18-year-olds are not going to go vote. So now, and maybe one of them is kind of apolitical. One of the parents is apolitical. Well, now one person in the house can go, here we go. There's all the votes, 4 votes for whoever, when that person would have gotten 1 vote because maybe one person would have gone to vote, maybe 2, but they just doubled the amount of votes coming out of that house because that. And all I have to do is put it in a ballot and have them sign it or do whatever it is that the states. You can't tell me that doesn't happen. And because you can't say, well, that doesn't happen, you should acknowledge that mail-in voting is obviously fraudulent. There's no argument to be made that you say that scenario is impossible, because it's not. And because it's not impossible, and because it's actually likely in many cases, you can't make a good argument for mail-in balloting. There is a difference between universal mail-in balloting and absentee balloting. Now, I think we should also curtail absentee balloting. Unless you're in the hospital and you are physically infirmed and you can't get to the polls, I don't think you should be eligible for this unless you're in the military or in a hospital. You shouldn't be able to I'm going on vacation. Let me get an absentee ballot. I think that we should restrict this substantially. But there's a difference in general, because an absentee ballot, I have to show initiative. I have to say, I want to vote. I have to put in a request. They have to receive the request. I have to get the ballot. I have to fill out the ballot. I have to send the ballot back. This shows initiative. This is a person who wants to vote. They want to participate in the process. Fine. That is so different than universal mail-in balloting. Universal mail-in balloting should be outlawed, 100%. And so that's also something that this would do, which would be great. But the arguments against it, but let's not even talk about the arguments against mail-in balloting. The arguments against this have always just sounded so ridiculous and absurd to me. The idea, they'll say things like, well, it's obviously racist. And you go, well, how's that now? And they'll say something like, well, black people have a harder time getting an ID. And I go, I know a lot of black people. I don't know anyone who's can't figure out how to get a driver's license. Why do you think black people can't get an ID? And they go, well, it's like a poll tax. The 24th Amendment says you can't have a poll tax. If I have to pay for an ID, it's like a poll tax. And I say, okay, maybe. I mean, you have to have a driver's license to do a lot of things. You drive a car, fly on a plane, buy alcohol, lots of things. It's never racist when you are required to have an ID, except in voting, apparently. Poll tax is an interesting argument. You say, okay, it is true. You shouldn't have to pay to vote. So you go, all right. Well, what if we, like some states have offered, what if we had a free voting ID that we'll give out to people? So all you have to do is come in and get a voter ID. Well, black people can't do that because they have to work more than white people. That's an argument I've heard. Okay, so the argument is that it's racist, and I say, how? and you say black people don't know how to get an ID, and I say, well, that actually sounds kind of racist to me. I don't know why you think black people can't get ID. Then you say, well, actually, it's just it costs money, and so therefore it's a violation of the 24th Amendment. And I say, well, what if we give it out for free? And you go, well, I don't know. See, I looked this up because I was curious. 9% of people who are of age do not have access to paperwork to vote, apparently, which I found surprising. I find that pretty high. So it'd be like 30 million people potentially. And 52% of people in the United States don't have a passport. That's fine. 11% don't have their original birth certificate. Okay, fine. So there's like a small percentage of people who might not have access to the paperwork. They might have to do some work to vote. Here's my controversial take. If this is too complicated for you to obtain an ID to vote, you shouldn't vote. If you are too stupid to obtain an ID to vote, if the process is too daunting for you, you go, I don't know how I'm ever going to get a copy of my birth certificate. I don't know how I'm ever going to apply for a passport. I don't know how I'd ever find my social security card. I don't know how I can ever accomplish these problems. If these are too daunting, if these problems are too hard for you to solve, you shouldn't vote. You're too dumb. You shouldn't vote. I mean that. I'm being literal. I'm not one of those people who says everyone needs to vote. Everyone needs to voice their opinion. I don't think that. If you're too stupid to get an ID, you shouldn't vote. If you're saying that I think the last time I renewed my license, it cost me like $20. If every 7 years when you have to renew your driver's license, the $20 fee is too much, well, maybe we could work out a system to, if you can't save over the course of 7 years your $20 to pay for your license, then maybe we can offer a free voting ID. I'm not opposed to this. The arguments are completely specious. They do not make sense. They are bad. They are disingenuous. I don't understand at all. I think that there's no reason that we shouldn't have laws like this. And by the way, these laws are popular. Let me show you something here. This is important. Take a look at this. This chart might be hard to read. I'm going to read it to you, though. So this is from Pew. Pew, the biggest, one of the most well-established polling firms. Oops. Whoa. What the heck? Polling firms in the country. So this is views of voting policies across racial and ethnic groups. So these respondents, here's the important part here. You can see the little chart here. Should you require voters to show government-issued photo identification to vote? Overall, 83% of Americans say yes to this question. Well, but what about black people? Don't they think it's racist? Apparently not, because the black population, 76% of them say yes, you should have to show an ID to vote. That includes 82% of Hispanics, 77% of Asians, and 85% of whites. So, I mean, what are we talking about? Black people don't think this is racist. Black people want this policy. Democrats are just making it up that it's racist. It's not racist to say only citizens should vote, and showing an ID prevents voter fraud. You could say, well, there is no voter fraud. Then what are you opposed to? They're acting as though this is a way to disenfranchise minority groups from voting. That is not true at all. Most black people have an ID. Most white people have an ID. Hispanics have ID. Most people have ID. It is not more difficult for black people to obtain identification. I have faith in the black community that they can obtain driver's license. And you know, I'll say it. If you're black and you live in St. Louis and you're having trouble obtaining an ID and you really want to vote, I would help you. You send me an email personally that says, I'm black. I can't get a driver's license. And I personally will work with you to get a driver's license. We can do it together, okay? I believe in us as a team. This is not a real person. They don't exist. There's no person who said, I really wanted to vote, but obtaining a driver's license was too difficult, so I didn't get to. Disenfranchisement is not a real argument. It is fake. It's just not true. This is the only reason to oppose this is if you think you have the ability to cheat. I do not have a genuine, positive way to look at it. You might believe that it's racist, but your argument holds no water. So I do not see it. I do not understand it. I'm not trying to. I really am trying to engage with the argument. You're telling me it's racist. I'm saying black people don't think that. You can't tell me that it's racist when the black community, when polled, 76% of them say it's not. I don't know what to tell you. And overall, if 83% of America wants it, that makes it one of the more popular issues in the country. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This seems only a way for cheaters to prosper. The bill, by the way, it's passed the House. It passed 218 to 213. All the Democrats, except Henry Cellular, Texas, voted against it. All of them. No Democrat wants this. Nothing but cheaters and disingenuous people in Congress. Congress isn't even representing the people at this point. Your people don't want this. I don't know what to tell you. They don't. When you're looking at the majority of Democrats who also want this, it's crazy to me that you're going to sit there and say that they don't. What is gaslighting? Don't gaslight, okay? You Democrats, don't you gaslight me. Tell me people don't want this. I know the truth. Anyway, we are going to leave it there for the day. As always, I'm Tyler Chrestman. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Questions, comments, concerns down below. Tell me where I'm wrong, people. All right, tell me where I'm wrong. I love to hear the criticism. It's my favorite part. And if you're substantially rude or nasty, we'll probably read your comment on next week's episode and make fun of you. So it'd be great. It's great for me. Anyway, take care. I'll catch you guys next Friday.